Hallo alle sammen. Jeg heter Mark. This is Mark. And velkommen tilbake kanalen min. Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be sort of my update on things recently that's been going on since I haven't been posting as much in the last week. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Main thing is that I kind of had some bad joint inflammation, so I got on some medication. That's why my voice is a little raspy. Haven't been able to type on my left hand, so that's been challenging. But it's getting better now, actually getting a lot better, feeling okay. But it means I haven't been as diligent with my language learning process in the last couple weeks, even before that. And you know, I'm okay because we all have fluctuations up and down in our language learning process. That's nothing new. And if you've been learning languages, you know that that's part of what you go through. You have periods where you're doing really well, you make a lot of progress, and periods where maybe you're not making as much progress. The main thing is to just keep going regardless of those fluctuations. This actually reminds me, I was asked a question by Mina Halfmoon, I think is the name, and he or she asked, how do you maintain motivation in language learning you know, going forward or when you're not making much progress? I was going to answer this in like that funny interview format video, but those take a while to edit and to put together. So I'm just going to answer you the question. So sorry I didn't make a funny video out of it. But the answer is basically just what I said. You know, you have to realize that these fluctuations are natural. This always happens in the process of learning any skill, not just language learning, but if you're learning yoga, or you're learning dance, or you're learning to run, or you're learning martial arts. There's always a process of, you know, quick adaptation and then the plateau and then another quick adaptation and plateau. And that's just part of what happens. So the main thing is not to get too upset or too emotionally invested in those ups and downs, because that's not, at least for myself, that's not what I'm invested in. What I'm invested in is the continual practice, just the process of going through the motions and making sure I at least try and do my minimum amount that I told myself I would do, which I have been doing. My minimum amount is to do at least my Anki flashcard review every day. So I've been doing my Anki flashcards, I'm caught up on those, and to try and get in as much listening as I can, which I've been doing. I've been listening, doing a little bit of reading here and there, but the flashcards are really what I'm focusing on right now because I'm trying to acquire that high frequency word list as much as I can so that I can comprehend more of what I'm reading and listening to. And my reading is improving. In fact, I had quite an epiphany. I was listening to something after that 7-week update, and I noticed a sudden burst in my comprehension. I mean, I still can't understand most of anything, but I noticed a marked improvement in the level, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And I've talked about this in other contexts, but motivation to me isn't the key to success, it's consistency. Motivation stems from an emotional response, emotional state. You're motivated or you're not motivated, which means that it isn't consistent. Emotions are not consistent, and you can't be consistently motivated all the time. So instead, I think it's important to focus on the practice and focus on the process and enjoy that for what it is. There's always periods of time where you're going to not be motivated, you know, have that emotional feeling. There's always opportunities for you to just go through the practice, go through the process, enjoy that. I guess I focus less on whether or not I feel motivated, and I focus more on whether or not I'm doing the work that I need to do. You know, we get sort of an endorphin rush when we do something that we wanted to do, or we get that sort of, that feeling like, oh, I did that thing. Maybe that's motivating. If we rely on that feeling of, oh, I did that to do the thing, then you'll never do the thing because that feeling isn't consistent, right? I don't know if I'm making any sense. Long story short, I focus on whether or not I'm studying as to whether or not I'm doing well on my language learning. I feel better when I've done the work, and I don't feel good when I haven't done the work. And I don't let my motivation factor into that too much. Actually, for a long time, I would do a lot of things. This is back when I was training in martial arts. I would do a lot of things like pump up mixes and watch martial art movies and all sorts of things to get myself motivated to train. But I realized that those are fun and helpful, but you shouldn't train because you're motivated. You should train because that's the practice that you've committed to. When you feel motivated, then your workout's probably going to be a lot better. Your language study will be a lot better. And when you're not feeling motivated, it might not be as good. But as long as you're doing it, that's the important thing. It's about the consistent effort. It's about just getting in there and doing the thing. There's a 2-day rule. I forget who came up with this, but the 2-day rule is that you never let yourself cheat for more than 2 days at a time. So one day you don't study, you mess up, okay. the next day, just make sure you do at least the bare minimum, so that you can't say that you've skipped anything for more than one day. Even if I miss my Anki flashcard review on one day, I make sure I get to it the next day so that I don't fall too far behind on those. So yeah, I guess that's my answer. Is it's about consistent behavior. It's about just putting into practice. It might not be as strong as it was at one time. You might have other issues going on in your life, and that's all okay. That's part of the process of being a human being. But as long as you put in the time overall, it's the aggregate of all the effort over time. It's not the spurts of effort over, one day out of a couple weeks. I don't know if that helped you mean a half moon or not, but anyway, that's my opinion. Yeah, maybe you feel differently. One thing I've been thinking a lot about recently is about the YouTube channel and what my plans are for it and what I'm going to do. I like doing reaction videos, I really do, and I'm probably still going to do some time to time on this channel. But I've been thinking a lot about what I really want to do long term and how it keys in with what I do professionally and what my true motivation and passions are. I want to do something more related to web design, and I think I'm going to resurrect my Akamai Websites YouTube channel to focus on that. So this won't be here. If you want to check that out, at some point it will be on Akamai Websites YouTube channel. There's only a couple of videos on there right now related to working with clients and stuff. But I was thinking, and I was talking with Peck from Impeccable again about their channel, and I was thinking that what I think is I would like to add to the conversation and what I think might be missing is not just so much a topic about how to do web design or how to build a website or how to use Adobe XD or set up things in WordPress or work with page builders or do code. Those are all important, but there's a lot of great channels about those things already. So I don't think it's necessary for me to say a lot about that. But I think what's really missing is something that explains, especially for younger designers, the process of working in the entire design ecosystem for a client or within an agency. How is it to work as a web designer and to have to explain your designs to someone or to onboard a new client into your process? Because every designer has a different process, but they're not always effective at communicating that process to a client, communicating effectively over the span of a project. I've been guilty of that myself. I've been horrible at communicating in the past, which is how I learned how to be better, because it comes back and smacks you in the face later on. As I mentioned before, I see working with students that a lot of them are missing that piece. They might be really good designers. I've seen some fantastic designers who haven't even graduated yet, but they don't really understand the process of how to work with a client, how to, talk about pricing models, or how to talk about setting up a contract or setting up ongoing maintenance on something. And I think that's really going to be of help and of use to people. So that's sort of what my direction is right now. I'm going to still do a lot of the design stuff because I have a different process than other designers do, which is normal. I mean, we're all kind of artists, so we all have our own different process. So I like to share my process of how I build websites and how I work, but also key into that my process of working with clients, helping to communicate and onboard them into what I do. So I think that's probably helpful to a lot of people. So that's my plan, that's my goal, that's my idea. That's sort of what I'm thinking about right now. And then it's going to be a lot of work. But I think it will be worth it because I think I can help people with that process. I've even seen people who have been doing professional design for a long time with clients, but they are still not very good at communicating effectively with a client. They're maybe a little brash or a little rough, or they might not be very good at expressing certain things or listening to feedback. So I think there's a lot to be said just in that whole area of client communication. I don't think it's going to be something I can implement right away. I'm thinking maybe in the fall I'll work on that because right now I have to prepare for my class that I'm teaching in 2 weeks. In the meantime, I'm still going to post up the occasional reaction video here, maybe some other random stuff. My process for learning Norwegian, I still want to talk about that. As far as my main drive, I think I'm going to focus on creating content for that area. I say that today, but who knows what's going to happen next week. Tusen takk for listening to my spiel. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Take care of yourselves, be safe, wash your hands, wear a mask. See you later. Ha det bra. Bye.